everyone? This is the Popcorn Heroes review of Men in Black International.
We're going global, baby.
Woo, woo. I was looking for a Big Willie reference, but I couldn't remember one. Anyways,
welcome to London.
I am Armando. With me is Orlando.
Yo,
Don't get us confused. I'm Armando. He's Orlando.
I make this look good. What does he say before that though? He was like, I don't know about you, but I make this look good. What does he say?
I don't fucking remember, dude. That's how forgetful this movie was.
No, dude, that's like the original Men in Black movie. He puts his shades on and he goes, I make this look good.
Probably.
He says, you know the difference between you and me?
Boom!
I make this shit look good.
Damn! And the funny thing is, there's a callback reference to that where she's like, oh, I look good in black. Or something like that.
That's not that good of a callback.
But it's a callback of saying like, hey, I look good.
Yeah.
Just like Will Smith said, I make you look good.
You know what the funny thing is that this movie wasn't good.
No, it was not. So we're going to start off as we always do. Spoiler free, very quick thoughts. And then we're going to get into it. I mean, very quick thoughts, please, because let's get into it. 1 out of 5, Orlando. What do you think?
I give it a 2. Did not like it. Didn't hate it, but did not like it. The characters just felt like one-dimensional. They felt flat. Something was missing.
Yeah.
There was elements of a good movie here in terms of like what Men in Black is.
Yeah.
You know, cop movie with alien basically. But they're just the characters and then the writing just there wasn't any like there's something was missing and that's all. Like pretty much. I just didn't like the movie.
Yeah, it was really off. I agree with you. I'll give it a 2. It's just what could have been, man. Right? I think you have Tessa Thompson, you have Chris Hemsworth, and they killed it in Thor Ragnarok. But I feel like they couldn't bring that here, and maybe it was just essentially the writing. It was fucking garbage. And you know, there was an article that popped up a few days after MIB bombed that said that it was a very, very bad like filming.
Right.
Like the script was consistently changing throughout the whole thing, and it just wasn't what it could have been.
Right.
So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. Even some of the choices, like even some of the character choices, I was just like, I don't know where you want to take this character, and it's like, why are you making them do this and this? And we'll get into the spoilers. It was just really just flat overall. It reminded me of Ghost in the Shell, of like the elements of a good movie's here, but for some reason you're not nailing it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that this movie could have been what it
It could have been great.
Could have been great, man. So yeah, I mean, so would you recommend it, Orlando, to anybody?
Nope.
Yeah, I definitely would not. Please don't watch this movie.
Nah.
Wait till it's on HBO if you really want to see what's up.
Yeah.
Unless you have A-list. Our A-list, anything is possible. But don't watch it. It's not remotely fun.
Yeah. It's
I
just,
don't know. It's just bland.
Yeah. That's
It's
a good word.
so
That's the word I'm
fucking
looking for. Bland.
Yeah, it was extremely bland. But let's get into the spoilers. Spoilers ahead. I'm pretty sure you guys don't care. So I mean, if you want to keep listening, keep listening. It's so forgettable.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even re-spoil it for you.
So basically, what I'm talking about in terms of like character writing and like motive. So Tessa Thompson's character, she's obsessed with finding the Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that they exist because she saw them as a kid.
Yeah.
That's in the trailer. And so she finds them, she joins, and her pacing is very quick. Like it's like her becoming an agent is very like if within the first like 10 minutes. And of course, that happens to Agent J, Will Smith's character, also in the original Men in Black. It happens fairly quick, but there's still some like setup, like Mm-hmm. And what this does compared to the other one, it's like with Will Smith's character, it kind of showed that he was like a shitty cop, and he's like everything about the Men in Black is fascinating to him.
Yeah,
like he's like, whoa, like this gun is this this gun like shoots like the mini gun that he had that blew him back. He's like fascinated by it.
He thought it was a fucking shitty gun, and then when he started shooting, he's like, oh crap.
The neuralizer, he's like, you know, oh man, you could like wipe people's memories out. And then even in the beginning where like he's doing the shooting test and he shoots all the aliens. I don't know, he shoots all the humans and not the aliens. And he shoots a little girl and like they're like, hey, why did you shoot that girl? He's like, man, she's out here at night. Like, what's she doing? And that book, she can't read that book. She's like 5 years old. It solidified that character as like the newbie,
guy,
the newbie, and like just, and it was a good payoff with Tommy Lee Jones' character as like, you're the rookie and I'm the veteran. Yeah. And so in this one, we kind of had the same thing, but then she was never baffled by anything. She was already like,
it was more like I found it. Here I am.
Yeah, and it was her rise to being an agent was so quick. And granted, like she knew about the Men in Black, and so she did a lot of research, but they didn't have the same banter of like, I'm a veteran, you're the rookie. It was like they were on par. Yeah. And it just didn't make sense for them to be on par when this is literally the Tom Lee Jones of the movie, because he is like the top agent. Yeah. Granted, he's younger, but he's still a veteran at this point.
Yeah, I feel like he was Chris Hemsworth was like the fun gun type of like loose cannon type of guy that like you expected to be like, you know, what's that reference, like that loose cannon cop that like, what, you keep doing this, you're gonna get out of here, you know? yeah. Like I want to maybe something like that of like, he's such a loose cannon and this rookie kind of brings him down, like, hey man, like, you know, let's try to do things by the book. Maybe if that part of the dynamic would have happened, maybe. I don't know. I guess they like you said, they're too much at par. There was not much dynamic between both of them.
Right. They just, in terms of like partnership, there wasn't that like, I'm showing you the ropes. It's like she was, and there's nothing wrong with her being capable of it, being a capable agent.
But this is a new thing.
But this is like your first thing. And granted, you're not surprised by aliens because you know about them. Yeah. But nothing really stumped her. Yeah. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. She's, you know, she could be like a savant at that point, but it just didn't flow right in terms of, and then, so what happens also, one of the things that I was like, kind of like, where they're going with this didn't make any sense is that, so when they introduce Chris Hemsworth's character, K, right? No, M.
Who?
Is Chris Hemsworth's character.
Chris Hemsworth was I think it was M.
M, right? Yeah.
Or
when
H.
When they introduce him, he is like this dreamy. They show him out, because this alien is like slowing time. So like H. So they're slowing time. So like it looks like he's just very suave, and this alien is doing that, and that is kind of cool, I guess. And so when she approaches him, it's like, okay, is she into him? Like, is this a love interest thing where they're gonna play it off as like, we like each other? And so they never really, and it doesn't really matter, like two opposites, like they don't have to like do that, but it's weird that they introduce it like this. Yeah. And then at the end, basically they separate, and she has like a look on, like they both look at each other like, oh, I'm gonna miss this, like us teaming up together. Yeah. And so you don't know if it's like a romantic thing. And
so for you, it would have been better if they would have cleared the air of like what they're trying to aim for these
right, because it was these, and there wasn't really any moment of like
they liked each other.
Yeah, there wasn't any moment, because the thing is, even her thing where Agent H's like thing was like, oh well, you're too by the book, like you're too strict. You have to like chill out. And then she's like, well, this is all I ever wanted. And he's like, well, then like find things that you want. And so there's a point in the movie where Agent H has to go see like his like ex-lover. Yeah. And there's, when they're talking about that, he's like, well, you clearly never been in love because you only care about this. Yeah. And so like writing wise, I feel like, okay, well, she's gonna learn that like being an agent isn't the only thing. And maybe she'll like learn to like him, or like learn to like not be so by the book, and like, because like why have that there in terms of a character development, right?
You end up getting that though,
right? Exactly. You don't get that. You don't get that like resolved. You don't, not that resolved, but you don't usually, like if a story has that,
they learn a lesson,
right?
Somehow.
You learn a lesson, and so even then at the end where they separate for like a brief, like that clip, and then the next scene is Agent H going back to his car, and then she happens to be in his car, like, hey, I still want to hang out for a little bit. I asked him to like delay me for like 3 days. Let's hang out. And that's basically what they do, and they just drive off.
I thought that he was trying to say like, hey, you're being transferred to my department. Like, I thought that was gonna happen. And they really there's no resolution at all with the relationship.
It kind of just says like, well, she's clearly going back to New York still, because I mean they don't mention that she's gonna stay. She was reassigned to New York, so she's going back to New York. I just found it weird because like you have all of this setup, like, and it doesn't really have a payoff. So why have it there? You know? Like if he's not a love interest, they could be a buddy cop.
Yeah.
They could do that, which what they were. But why have this like
at the beginning, at the end, and in the middle, they're just buddy cop, essentially.
Right. And in the beginning, like, and I understand. Like the thing is, like, I get it. Like it wasn't that maybe she wasn't interested, but then like maybe she just wanted the experience, like go along for the ride. Like, oh, you're a veteran, and if I'm hanging out with you, I could see some stuff.
Which I think is what she was actually doing.
Right.
But they should have clearly made that more like her purpose, essentially.
Right.
Like you could kind of see that's what she was aiming for, but like they should have never opened up with introducing him like sexy guy or whatever.
Right, because then it just sends a weird message to the audience of like, hey, this is this, and maybe it's my fault where I'm so used to the tropes.
But the thing is that this movie went through so many rewrites that maybe half of the beginning or like the first draft was actually a love interest, or it wasn't a love interest probably, and then it became a love interest, and like, no, let's not make it a love interest, you know. So like this movie was a fucking mess to begin with. So that they like, I was reading an article here that's saying the beginning of the Men in Black before it even got produced was because, I don't know if you remember, they were going to do a Men in Black and Jump Street crossover.
Yeah, they were. I remember that.
But then the producer of Jump Street didn't want to do it anymore because he wanted he wanted something, and they didn't want to give it to him. So they're like, fuck it, let's just reboot it, right? So then they did a reboot. But then essentially the script was split between the director of the movie, Gary F. Payton, I think his name was. F. Gary, which he created Straight Outta Compton and the last Fast and the Furious movie.
Okay.
So essentially he had a script, but then another producer had another idea for the script. So essentially they went back and forth fighting over the script.
Right.
So essentially, like that's part of the reason why we both felt that it was a split movie somehow. It just felt very off, like cut together. It's because of that. They were literally, with this movie, they were actually same day rewriting the script, and they were giving the actors brand new lines, like right before they were filming before they filmed the scene.
That's clearly what's happening here, because it's just like at one moment it's like, hey, find love. The next moment it's like, hey, you're cool with not finding anything and just being an agent. 'Cause at the end, she's like, I'm getting some free time. Maybe I'm not so like gung ho maybe I'm not so by the book, but you're still by the book.
Yeah. So essentially, it says there's an article here that's saying that the original script for the movie was meant to be edgier and more timely to the current times. So essentially, the story they were trying to tell was a mirror. I mean, not a mirror, but what is? Yeah, but what's that? When people are no, it's kind of towards social. What is that called?
Social justice?
No, it's there. You go. It was a social commentary of the immigration debate that was going on in the United States. So apparently, the villain of the movie was supposed to be a music group that was kind of like the Beatles. That was essentially the Beatles, and both of them merging into one villain, like in the climax of the movie or something like that. But again, since there was so many script changes, and that's probably why there's just so many pieces of shit in this movie, and it just didn't work out together. And they were saying that since there were so many script changes almost every day, that Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson hired their own dialogue writers for the script. So imagine that you as an actor hiring a writer to write dialogue for you because the fucking script wasn't flowing well.
Yeah.
Like, how insane is that?
That's terrible.
You know what I'm saying?
It shows in the movie, like I said, like it's just really weird. Like where they go, what they do. And even so, one of the big things about this movie is that Agent H, they keep saying he's changed, he's different, but we don't know what the difference is.
Yeah.
And we just go by these characters that know him.
Exactly.
And it's just like, what happens to him is that he gets neuralized, and the main another big actor who's in this movie is Liam Neeson, and Liam Neeson happens to be an alien. He happens to be like the lead, one of the Hive members, and he's bringing the Hive to Earth, take over Earth.
Yeah.
And the Hive are these big aliens that they fought years ago. What happened years ago, though, is that they were never defeated.
Yeah.
The Hive came through and then took over Liam Neeson's body, and then he was neuralized, to forget that. And so they infiltrated MIB from the inside, so they could bring the Hive, the full like colony of the Hive over.
Yeah.
And so like the whole thing is like, and I think it's even weird because they fall into like the way it's discovered is that Chris Hemsworth's Agent H and Tessa Thompson's character are like trying to get out of like being fired technically. So they're like, hey, wait, there's a
mole.
There's a mole here. And they're like, oh, okay. And that's how like they go on this mole hunt.
Yeah,
it was kind of like by accident, like trying to save their own skin.
Yeah.
And so like it just happened to be true.
Yeah. And that didn't feel natural either.
Yeah, it just didn't feel natural. And the thing is, it's like, so even Agent H's character, like he's different. He's not the same, but like we don't know what the difference is, like who he used to be. Clearly, he was like not such of a hothead and not such a like a chill guy. He was more of like, by the book.
And his articles it also mentions that the director Gary. What's his name? Gary.
Yeah.
He essentially throughout the filming of the movie, he kept trying to leave because of how bad the situation was. So there was times where other people would step in to direct the movie because he would just fucking like want to leave. I don't want to do this anymore. And he'll walk on and they're like, oh no, come back, and he'll come back. But he kept doing that throughout the production of the movie. And he said like in the end when the movie was finished, they all did a cut. There was 2 different cuts of the movie, one by the director and one by the producer.
Jesus Christ.
And then they went with the cut that the producer made because he had final cut for the movie. So essentially, final cut means that he had final say regardless. Regardless of what anyone says.
Yeah.
So how crazy is that, dude? Like the director couldn't do what he wanted. Sony Pictures didn't give a fuck about the movie because apparently the executives didn't care. So it was just literally the producer running the show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like shit, dude. Like this movie went to shit from the beginning. Like there was no hope for it in the end. It's kind of intense, like how crazy all that was.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it had elements of a good movie. Like Alien was there. There was like, the Men in Black like universe was there. Like the guns, the look. It was all there. It was just the characters were just all of them were just off. Like
everything's off, man.
And it showed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. What could have been?
Yeah, and it's weird because like I feel bad for like the actors in this point because like you signed on to like this iconic movie. You're like, oh man, this is gonna be great.
Like an iconic franchise.
I'm excited, like and then you have to do press for it, and you can't talk bad.
Yeah.
So you're like, nope, this movie was great. I had so much fun. I'm so glad I'm in this franchise. Like, can't wait for the second one. And it's just like, that sucks. You have to like put on this like facade of like, the movie was terrible.
I don't see this movie coming back for another few years again.
Nah, I don't see it either. And like, at that point, maybe Will Smith will reprise his role.
Probably, but it's like, why would he do it? It's like he with Independence Day. That movie was fucking garbage. So it's like, if these franchises come back, why would I?
Yeah.
Unless I get paid so much money and my career's in the shitter that like I would do it. But I don't think his career is in a bad state enough for him to be like, you know what? I think I should revisit these franchises because I need the money.
Right. Nah, he's fine.
He still gets that syndication money from.
Yeah, and Bad Boys.
Yeah, he has Bad Boys coming up. So like, let's hope that movie is good. But he has he's not desperate for money.
He's Hollywood's dad, dude.
Yeah.
Like literally, he's fine.
It is what it is.
All right. Do you think another like what would you want out of a Men in Black movie?
Nothing. I've seen enough of it.
So you think it could die and it'd be fine?
I don't give a fuck about this franchise. I mean, I didn't care about it from the last movie that came out. Where they went kind of like back into the past, and I'm just kind of like, Pedro mentions he wants a show. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that could work. I don't know.
I think that'd be kind of cool. Like a Men in Black Academy.
I don't want Academy, though. That makes it too kiddie. more inexperienced. I want to follow real agents. You know?
Okay.
Experienced agents who know what the fuck they're doing. I don't want to follow some rookies and like trying to learn the ropes. And I don't need that shit again. Like, just throw me into the universe and that's it. Maybe discover different planets, follow different planets. Like there has to. These people are coming in through portals. So what's on the other side of the portal? You know what I'm saying?
Like stop being about Earth and like let's go.
Let's literally go out of this world. You know, because essentially MIB is like an airport. Their headquarters are airports.
Yeah,
they've always been that. So where are these aliens coming from? Let's see what's on the other side.
I like that idea.
I would like to see that. So thanks for giving me that idea, Orlando.
I like that idea.
All right, ladies and gents, this is the end of our podcast. Under this review, hope you enjoyed it. Don't go watch it. Wait for HBO, streaming services, anything. Just wait for it. You don't need to go out there and spend money on it. There's more better things for you to waste your time on. Follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify now. So if you have Spotify, check us out there. Some of our most loyal fans have been clamoring for us to be on Spotify.
And now we're on it.
And we're on it now. There we go. We were sponsored by A-List. Thanks, A-List.
We're not sponsored by A-List.
You're the best, baby. Till next time, guys.
We are the Men in Black. We can say we are popcorn heroes.
All right, you ruined it. Pedro, kill it.
We hope that you remember.